Welcome back to Fat Butcher Rips. Today we have a face-off. Series 1 24-25 against Series 1 25-26. We're going to see which tin delivers the bigger hits. Let's rip. All right, we got one tin of last year and one tin from this year. I just opened 3 of these not that long ago in real time, like really not that long ago, like 15 minutes ago. I decided, let me break out a tin that I had sitting around and see how they compare. I was getting 4 for the most part. One of them got 3. Last year I got 4 Young Guns out of here, so we'll hunt for Lane Hudson and Ivan Demidov, and we will start with last year, just to give them a fair shot to get out to an early lead. Here we go. So Series 1, 24-25, what are we getting ourselves into? We're getting ourselves into a whole bunch of those funky gaming inserts. We're gonna get ourselves into maybe some Young Guns Renewed, which I wouldn't mind getting a Kane or a Taves and seeing if it's super clean. But most importantly, like anything, it's the Young Guns you're really chasing out of these. And in particular, Lane Hudson, Frank Nazar, those are the guys. Last year's design, I always forget until I'm reminded how hard it is to read the names. I'm not gonna get too crazy with it, but nice start. We've got an Ovi breaking news. These were a really nice insert. I gave the gaming ones a bit of a tough go. I really like the breaking news. So these are the retail exclusive glossies, and these were last year's portraits. I don't know, this year's portraits are very serial, year 2 Bedard, very serial killer vibed. So it almost makes you reappreciate last year's. These, it's really hard to tell like the gold and bronze. I think this is the bronze. When we get to it in the 25-26 tin, much simpler, much easier. You can tell in an instant. All right, here we go. And we got our first Young Guns, Pierre Dubé. I pulled a lot of him. Another Bedard insert. I'm just not aimbots, McCann. I just never got behind the gaming ones. Those just didn't really speak to me. Pierre Dubé is not one of the better names, but that's fine. He is, if you get 3, which are kind of the stated odds, it's 3 out of 49. So your odds of hitting any one particular Young Gun are pretty long out of these. But, it's a nice lower stakes dice roll. And Joe Pavelski on Young Guns Renewed. These were very cool. I was a big fan. Pedersen and Hughes. I also like the City Satellites. So that was a nice enough insert. And a bit of base. I actually really, really like these. I know people had issues with how frequently they popped up. Yeah, would they have been cooler had they been tougher hits? Sure. They would have held more value. They would have been, something that people really chased. But, I built the whole set of them, and I couldn't have been happier with it. So we've got our first speckled insert here of Tage Thompson and Austin Matthews. The speckles are rarer, but not incredibly valuable. And some gaming co-ops and a Keel Thomas. Keel Thomas, kind of a mid-tier Young Guns at the high end for this. So that's fine. You're really looking for a handful of dudes out of this release, and he's not one of those dudes. All right, second half, but it does mean that we might have a good shot at pulling 4 Young Guns, so fingers crossed. And it looks like we have an A-Lines. These were also very nice. Relatively rare. I think out of hobby boxes, maybe you get one A-Lines a box, possibly. Kaprizov, OPG, and Perfetti. So the A-Lines were, well executed. Aside from the gaming stuff, I didn't have a lot of problems with Series 1 inserts, but there were just so many of those gaming ones. And they were so common that, man, they overwhelm you sometimes. another Speckle, this one Connor Hellebuck, and Matt Boldy on the Gaming XP. We'll keep moving through here. And this is a pretty solid Young Gun. Owen Zellweger. Don't mind that one at all. Go ahead and sleeve him up. That's a solid one. Okay, 2 packs left. We're on track to get a bonus 4th Young Gun. Let's see who it is. All right, looks like another renewed here. Nazem Kadri on the renewed, Draisaitl, and Mark Stone. So get our base here. We'll put this guy. We'll put this guy in his sleeve. Real quickly, just so, I mean, we're a year behind. It shouldn't be a big deal. That's the difference, gold and regular, whatever, bronze, whatever they want to call it. It's not a huge difference. It really is much more noticeable, as we're about to see in this year's. And our final run here, we got a Stützle on the canvas, Graham Clark, and Connor McDavid Gaming insert. Graham Clark, bonus Young Gun, not much more pleasant to say. So we still have our exclusive Dazzlers. In Series 1 last year, there were no rookies in the Dazzler. So now this year you can chase Demidov. Last year you could not chase Lane Hudson. So the ceiling isn't quite as high on these. I did like the Dazzlers design last year. I think I actually like this year even more. Binnington, Natchez, and I believe these are red, despite the fact that they look pink, but a red parallel Jeremy Swayman. Not bad. Okay, so 24-25 in the books. Let's clear it out and let's see what 25-26 can give us. Okay. Okay. So one thing that we might need to keep in mind as we think about who wins is price. I picked up my Series 1 24-25 for like $33, and these are $49.95 US. So, you know, if they win, they have to win by a lot. Tracking systems: Grubauer, Yanni Newman, and Sam Reinhart, goal-oriented. Yanni Newman's a good one. Even bigger development, I figured out how to say his name, and it's Yanni Newman. So exciting stuff all over. All right, getting through our base to a glossy of Nick Suzuki. I do prefer it this year. It's just a cleaner design, and I'm a sucker for clean designs. Boldy on the bustle, Draisaitl on the portraits, and our base. All right, let's see if we can get one more Young Gun on this side, which will mean we have a great shot at getting 4. So here we go. We got Jesper Bratt on the Encore, Patrick Laine Speckle. It's not, the portrait speckles don't pop. That is what it just is what it is. And Victor Ostman, Young Guns. It's a goalie. It's, you know, who knows? Who knows how they'll turn out? We'll wait and see. Okay. Got our base. And we've got Mark Stone on the glossy. The struggling Dustin Wolf. And Matthew Barzal. And some base. Okay, halfway through our second tin. Let's keep it going. Looks like we should get 2 more Young Guns based on everything we've seen, which is nice. Austin Matthews. Jordan Binnington. That's just like blue steel he's given us. Shesterkin on the Cup Quest. Base. That's a nice looking base card. Nicholas Coco, the other Kraken goalie. So we're covering all of our bases on the Kraken. Unfortunately, they also have, you know, Joey Decord. I think they still have Grubauer. I mean, they've got a glut of goalies. So we'll see. Hey, that's a nice one. Nice Ivan Demidov on the OPG glossy, Aho Encore, and Draisaitl sizzle reel. So nice to pick up one of the big rookie in the glossy. They're obviously much less valuable than, you know, his Young Guns, but there's actual real value to that card. That's collectible, and it's honestly, objectively, I think it's a really nice looking rookie card, so no complaints. And looks like, is this going to be Gabe Perreault? It is. Okay, sizzle reel of Kent Johnson, Gabe Perreault, Young Guns, and a Cale Makar on the portraits. Okay, so nice fourth Young Gun of Gabe Perreault. The tins have been pretty solid as far as Young Gun content has gone for me. Obviously, it's all random, and I've probably beaten odds, but I've gotten Snuggerud, Perreault, and Demidov out of, now this is the fourth tin I've done for this year's product, so not too shabby. Not too shabby. Okay. And you get your 1 canvas per tin and your 1 gold per tin, and it is Mark Stone, which is honestly, yeah, it's not going to be valuable. It's a pretty nice looking color match. I like that. Quinn Hughes on the compositions, and our base with Patrik Laine. So we got 1 left here, and that is the Dazzlers. Exclusive, with an F, as they say. And, oof, that is a nice looking Pyotr Kochetkov red. The reds really pop on this year's. Artem Levshinov, Jake Neighbors. You will never hear me complain about an Artem Levshinov. That is again, is it going to be crazy valuable? Probably not. Probably not. But that Pyotr Kochetkov, that looks pretty sweet. Okay, so 2 tins in the book. Let's pull some things together and let's see who came out on top. Okay, quick recap. Each of them had a insert or parallel dazzler. You can't look at these, or maybe you can, but I can't look at these and credibly say that last year's parallels hold a candle to this year's. They crushed the parallel coloring on this, so it's just much more vibrant and bold. And for that matter, the regular orange dazzlers really popped this year relative to last year. I liked the design last year. These really pop this year. So yeah, just based on the exclusive dazzler material that's available, this year's comes out on top. Now, we then have a whole assortment of inserts, OPCs, and we, you know, it's fine. We got a couple of nice little speckles, nothing crazy. This side, we got some speckles, we got, you know, we got some stuff, nothing crazy again. There's our speckle right there. But we also did get a Demidov glossy, and I think that's a big leg up. The one thing that last year had that this year doesn't is you get a couple of these reneweds, and I really like those. Not crazy names, but they are pretty great to look at. And yeah, I got 4 Young Guns in both. Zellweger, probably my best. Akil Thomas, probably second. And in this case, I got Gabe Perreault, probably the best one I pulled, and then Yanni Newman, also pretty strong. So head-to-head, without being biased, I think this year takes this one, and I think takes it in general. Despite the fact that, you know, these are in here, I think this year's, I just like, frankly, I like the design better. I like the fact that there are rookie dazzlers to be found. And aside from, you know, Lane Hudson and Frank Nazar, it's a little softer class than what I think this year's Series 1 class will be. And frankly, I like the inserts. I'm being frank about a lot of things, apparently. So anyways, it was a fun little experiment to see what we could find, and appreciate you checking it out with me. Please, if you get an opportunity, comment, like, subscribe, and I'll check you out in the next one.